Welcome to Mikam Israel. Parashat Shoftim opens with the command, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha, appoint judges and officers. Chazal teach us something remarkable. Not only must the shofet, the judge, be wise and righteous, even the shoter, the one who enforces the law, has to be a man of sincerity and integrity. Why? Because in Torah, influence doesn't flow from a robe or a gavel or authority. It only flows from sincerity. Devarim hayotzim min halev nechnasim el halev. Words that come from the heart enter the heart. Rav Hanoch Lebovitz explains even when the Torah prescribes punishment like lashes, they were never meant to break a Jew. They were meant to awaken, to pierce the fog, to stir him back to life and call him home. And in truth, every one of us is both a shofet and a shoter. Every word we speak, every action we perform, it influences someone. But it only penetrates if it comes from the heart. And sometimes, sincerity, judgment, and compassion, they all collide in real life, like in a Manhattan courtroom, where a young man's world collapsed and was rebuilt. He was the child of survivors. His parents carried Auschwitz on their skin, but silence in their souls. There was no Shabbat, no Torah, no Bar Mitzvah, only emptiness. He sought belonging in the streets, fast money, shady deals, reckless living, and by his 20s, he was wealthy and bold, untouchable on the outside, but hollow on the inside, and then it all collapsed. One day he walked into a Manhattan restaurant to close a deal and walked out in handcuffs. The FBI had wired the room. His partners betrayed him. He was facing 25 years in prison. He ran to the best lawyers, polished offices, gold pens, mahogany desks. "Save me," he begged. But even they shook their heads. The evidence is airtight. You're finished. That night, he wandered the streets in this city, broken, terrified, and crying. He slumped into a diner. Tears were dripping into a cup of coffee, and an older Jew with numbers tattooed on his arm slid into the booth beside him. "Tell me, my son, what is your problem?" "You wouldn't understand," the young man muttered. The man rolled up his sleeve. "You think I don't know what problems? You think I don't know?" And so he told him everything. The man listened, then he whispered, "You don't need another lawyer. What you need is a Rebbe." Too broken to resist, he followed him up 6 flights of stairs down the block into the simple home of the Holy Scholia Rebbe. Through tears, he poured out his story. The Rebbe listened, then smiled softly. "Don't worry. Your lawyer will arrive late tomorrow. Don't be nervous. Everything will be okay." The next morning, literally the prophecy unfolded. His lawyer was absent. In walked a substitute, a boy, barely older than he was. The child, this guy he thought is going to defend me? The case began. The prosecution laid out their airtight evidence on tape. The substitute boy rose, and it was painful. His words were clumsy. His argument was weak. His delivery was halting. The young man buried his face in his hands. "This is my lawyer. I'm finished." And then the impossible happened. The judge leaned forward, banged his gavel, and cut off the prosecutors. "This case? This is evidence? This is nothing. Case dismissed." The young man could hardly breathe. He rushed out of the courtroom with the substitute lawyer at his side. How? How, he asked, trembling. You could barely say a word. Why in the world would the judge throw out the case?" The boy looked down, almost embarrassed. He goes, "That judge? It's my grandfather." In that instant, everything became clear. It wasn't brilliance. It wasn't chance. It was Shemayim arranging every single nikuda, every detail. The young man ran back to the Scholia Rebbe. "How did you know? How could you possibly have known?" The Rebbe lifted his hand. "How I knew? I don't have to tell you. But one thing I do know, when someone does a favor for you, you owe it. I'm not asking you to become observant overnight. I'm asking only this: buy tefillin, put them on every day." And the boy did it. That one step became the spark that transformed his life. Today, he's a full-fledged Shomer Shabbat Jew who lives with Torah, with children and grandchildren, carrying that very light forward. Ladies and gentlemen, Am Israel, all of us as a nation, we have entered Elul. Today was the first day of Selichot. We tremble because the Yamim Noraim draw near. We feel the weight of our flaws, our failures, our missed opportunities. So we wonder, how can I possibly stand in the heavenly courtroom? But Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha whispers it's secret. Even judgment, even enforcement must come with sincerity and compassion. And so it is above to us. Judgment, it may feel heavy, But behind the gavel is not rejection, it's mercy, it's love. Borei Olam isn't looking for reasons to cast us away. He's searching for pathways to bring us close. And what does he ask of us in Elul? Not to become angels in one night, and not to rewrite a lifetime in a week. He just asks for sincerity. One mitzvah with emet, one tefillah from the heart, one simple act of hakarat hatov, gratitude that flows with love. Because when we take even that single step in Elul, the courtroom of judgment becomes the chamber of embrace. The judge reveals himself as the Father. And Elul, well, that becomes the beginning of homecoming. Shabbat shalom u'mevorach.